All right, this is a 2012 Ford F250. I know it's the same as a lot of other models. This is how you get your spare tire down if you don't have the key or the correct key. So basically, this is the flower type pattern. That's the lock. It's supposed to be the key for the lock on the tire winch. This is the tire winch that I have removed from the truck. So I have been searching and searching and searching for a lock, and I finally found one, but this pattern does not match this pattern. So apparently that they're off by a little bit, and I've tried 3 other people's from 3 other Ford F250s and none of them work. So I was still stuck with needing my spare and not being able to get it down. This key basically pops on to the end of this tire remover tool. You slide it through that hole right there in the back bumper into the little guide, and then you can get to the winch and lower the winch down with the tire. So if you don't have this key and you are somewhere on the road, you are out of luck. You are not getting your spare tire down. So I looked around for a video and I could not figure out what to do or how to get my spare down, and I really needed it. So basically what you need is a grinder and a cutoff wheel. Just try to make this quick. Basically I just took this grinder, not down here, there was a nipple down here before, but I chopped that nipple off, but it didn't release the cable. So I cut right through this spring and halfway into the little slide that's in here. If I can move this up a little bit. I had just cut halfway in, enough to cut the cable, and then I had a jack holding my spare up, and it allowed all this stuff to come off and my spare to come down. So once I get that down, this is the winch that was up underneath the truck. There's 2 bolts on it here. Remove these 2 bolts. There is a guide like this. Pop this guide off. Pull this thing out, and this is the problem that everybody has. You need to remove this lock. And by doing that, all I did was get a pair of vice grips, and I locked them on here and was able to wedge. Try to do this with one hand. Okay. Let me get a little better grip on that. I was able to pop this lock out. Now I'm throwing that thing away because I don't know who is going to come steal my spare tire. And we are left with this rectangular shape. Now, your standard toolkit, you can just stick this thing through the guide and it will turn this just fine. So without this, you are never getting your spare down. But remove that lock and it will solve all your problems. Now all I need to do is run back under there, set this back up inside of there. There's just those 2 bolts. Cinch it down with 2 bolts. Obviously I cut this up, so what I did is I just went and bought a cable clamp. I had slid this all off, pulled this bracket off, and my spare came out. I was able to get my spare on, so I slid all this stuff back on. Put this cable clamp on there, so this stuff cannot slide off anymore because I cut the crimp off. So that's all back together, and I can reuse this factory winch. There are some people that use replacement ones or buy a different one, but I'm going to put this spare up. I'll probably never use the spare again. I actually never even used it. I pulled it down just in case I needed it. But put this back on. There's a little hole underneath there. I'll try to get a picture or a video of it here in a second. Slide this guide back into place and get the spare back up there, and we'll be good to go. Let's get a quick look from underneath. This is where the spare goes. So these are the two holes. There's one here, and there's one right here. And that's what holds the winch up in place. The winch goes up over the top of this and drops through this hole. And then the snorkel little guide goes this way and it follows out to this hole. That's where your tool from the bumper comes in. I'll get a picture of it in a second here once I have it back up inside. All right, from underneath, getting ready to put this back on. Just gonna line up these holes right here. Get these bolts started. That one's started. Get that one started. Okay. And then from the front side over here is where this guide is going to go through. There's a hole like up in there. I'm going to slide this thing up in place. And then it runs through and you just have to line it up with that old key spot up there. It slides on and clips on. And then from there, your guide will line up with this hole. Just bring your tool through here and you can now lower your tire without the dumb key. Thank you, Ford. Okay, this is all snapped in. This is all ready. Just gonna impact this in. All right, I think that's good to go. Now I'm just going to use my tool, lower this down, put my spare tire back in, and we'll be set. I also can trim this off if I need to, but the spare tire is going to hang down probably to here, and it'll be tucked up inside. All right, got my spare here now. I got this just a standard kind of rectangle end on there. Stick it through there. Now it bites. And now it's coming down. Turn this, lower that. I'm gonna slide the spare in there. Crank it the other way, go right back up. This is going to be good for any Ford F250. I know at least the 2011 and newer. I don't know about the older F250, F350. I'm not sure about the 150s, but this key is a real pain. Thanks for watching.